Let's now talk to Quezon Representative Helen Tan, who has been restored as the chairperson of the House Committee on Health. Good morning, Congresswoman, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Hi, Christian. Good morning.
How do you respond to that criticism coming from former Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano, that when you talk about word of honor, there should have been no movement when it comes to the committee chairmanships under new Speaker Lord Alan Velasco?
Well, I don't know where it's coming from, Christian, kasi ang speaker naman laging may prerogative kung anong gusto niyang gawin. And for example, me as the chairperson of the Committee on Health will not disrupt the ongoing, my appointment will not disrupt the ongoing budget deliberation. The same with the election of the senior deputy speaker and I think Deputy Speaker Mikey Romero.
But was there actually commitment, an agreement that there would be no movements, even if there's a change in speakership?
That I don't know kasi closed door meeting yung sa kanila when they talk prior to Monday event or Tuesday event, no? So ako naman, for example, ang Committee on Health is a good example. There's no reason for my removal. So, hindi naman pwedeng idikta doon sa new speaker na i-reinstate ako because I believe Speaker Lord Alan believes that my chairmanship is of essence, no? Especially now that we have ongoing deliberation of the DOH budget.
Mm-hmm. And how do you think this latest movements or changes in certain positions at the House would affect the deliberations on the national budget?
I don't see na it will affect the deliberation of the budget, as I've said earlier.
No disruption?
No disruption. I don't see, as you can see, last night they ended the deliberation at 4 a.m. And as scheduled, natapos yung lahat ng agencies. As of today, meron tayong mga agencies scheduled. So our commitment to the President and to Senate to finish it up to third reading on Friday, I think walang mababago.
And you can meet that deadline?
Yes, yes. I believe we can meet that deadline.
Okay. But once you finish the deliberations in the national budget, when you return in November, are you expecting other changes in terms of committee chairmanships? Because ordinarily, the new speaker would want to put his own people there.
I can speak in behalf of the speaker, but based on the observation from previous congresses as the leadership changes, nagkakaroon din ng mga panibagong chairmans of the committees. Of course, as I've said, prerogative yun ng speaker kasi mas gusto niya siguro na maglalagay ng chairman na nandun ang kanyang trust and confidence, and at the same time he can work closely, no? So maybe on November 16 as we resume, baka magkakaroon ng few changes on the chairmanship of the committees.
But for you, what do you think would be a better option for the House as a whole? To keep most of the chairmanships positions and other positions as is, or to go for certain changes?
If I am the Speaker of the House, I would go for doon sa nakikita ko na kailangan. If changes is needed, especially for the non-working committees, no? Still performance tingnan din niya kung maayos na nagtatrabaho ang mga chairmans of the committees. But as practice kasi in the Congress, it's always between agreement of party leaders.
Yeah, yung appropriation of certain committee positions, right? Depending on the parties.
Like for example, like when we started, I think most of the committee chairmanships of the NPC, the party where I belong, like yung economic affairs is supposed to be under the NPC. I think basic education is supposed to be under NPC, but it was not given under NPC. So I believe isa yan sa pag-uusapan ng mga party leaders with the speaker kung dapat bang sundin yung napagkasunduan nung una pa before the 18th Congress na ginagawa na ibalik yung mga party allocation, or pwede rin naman na ang speaker will identify yung mga allies niya na alam niyang makakatrabaho niya ng maayos, na ilalagay niya na chairman ng mga importanteng committees.
But for the Economic Affairs Committee, the one who headed that belonged to the party list bloc, right? And I think that was because of the percentage of seats occupied by the party list group. But in this case, you're saying that traditionally, it's allocated for the NPC, no?
Yes, yes. Traditionally, it was allocated for NPC. I don't know lang what happened yung previous leadership. But naalala ko, supposed to be inilaban yon ng NPC.
Mm-hmm. Now, in the case of former Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano, what role do you see him performing in the House under the new Speaker, Lord Alan Velasco?
Actually, I don't know. Hindi ko alam. I can't answer for that question, no. Although si Speaker Lord Alan Velasco na-mention niya na he even asked anong gustong posisyon ni former Speaker APC.
And what happened after?
Parang wala namang napagkasunduan.
Mm-hmm. But in this case, do you think stability has been restored really in the House of Representatives after that acrimonious battle, that jockeying for position for speakership?
Yeah, last Tuesday, after that ratification of Lord Alan Velasco's election as the new speaker, in the plenary, naramdaman ko naman na parang okay, tapos na lahat yung ordeal namin. But of course, syempre, yung mga, as you mentioned earlier nga, yung changes on the committee posts, no? Siguro yun lang ang magbabago. But ang importante, diretso yung trabaho namin. Especially ngayon during budget deliberation. Medyo siguro meron pang dapat mga ayusin. Nagbago ang Secretary General, nagbago ang Sergeant of Arms. Siyempre, lahat yan aayusin nila, magkikreate sila ng body nila na makakasama nila. Same with other siguro na committees kung sakali mang may papalitan.
Now, in terms of lessons, what do you think are the lessons that should be drawn from this bitter episode between the former speaker and the new speaker? Because you know that the entire institution was dragged into this mess.
Yeah. Ako siguro yung lesson is that to set aside politics and self-interest, no? To honor matuto tayo na mag-honor ng agreement na pagkasunduan. Kasi tingin ko dito, very clear naman sa mga members that there's a term sharing, no? That by October, magkakaroon ng transition at magpapalit ng speaker. And yun nga naapektuhan ang mga members. So, yun lang. Set aside siguro yung politics and self-interest and learn to honor the agreement and respect your colleagues in Congress.
But can this be seen as indeed a triumph of values? For example, word of honor, keeping one's word? Or this is in fact, let's say, a triumph of congressional subservience to the president because he had to step in for a second time just to settle this mess?
Well, I can see naman then that we honor din yung values, no, natin as Filipinos. But we cannot prevent naman to the leaders, no, seeking advice from the president. So, yung nakita ko nung Monday sa Celebrity Sports Plaza, very positive yung mga maraming members doon, and hindi naman yon sinabihan ng Pangulo para pumunta doon, and the President naman that publicly spoke on na pumunta ka kay Lord Alan Velasco. Ang paniniwala ng marami, ako personally, yung kung ano yung napag-agrihan nung nagsisimula ng 18th Congress ay irespeto lang, and hindi kailangan ng intervention ng anybody.
Okay, now I don't want to sound naive here because we know the dynamics between the House and Malacanang. Whoever the president is or whoever are part of or whoever is the speaker. Basically, there's close contact and there's a lot of influence coming from Malacanang on the House of Representatives. But in this case, we know that there are people who are thinking, what kind of house would this be under Velasco compared to the house under Cayetano? Given the fact that the two of them are exactly very much loyal to the president. I mean, what kind of independence can the public expect under Velasco? Or would it be more of the same?
Kasi you're saying yung influence of Malacanang in the House of Representatives, no?
Which is a
Pero
given.
yeah, sa amin kasi ang Kongreso naman has to work closely with the executives, no. Syempre, tinitingnan ako naman, hindi lang naman itong president ito. I'm on my last term and nakita ko palaging guided kami kung ano yung mga priorities of the administration ay fina-follow namin. An example of which is yung mga legislative priorities namin. We aligned it kung ano yung sinasabi ng sitting president or administration, ano yung mga pangunahin niyang kailangan gawin ng Kongreso at ng Senado. Although, of course, hindi naiwasan palagi tutugon kami kung ano yung nakikita namin problem in the ground na kailangan namin ng legislations, no? Pagdating doon sa liderato ni Speaker Lord Alan Velasco, I think naman ay ang buong Kongreso, ang majority ay very supportive sa kanya. Yung mga pending namin na priority bills, no, especially with COVID-19 pandemic ay diretso at sisikapin na maipasa namin, no, at maging batas. And the recovery bills natin, no, when in terms of the economy, no, or economic recovery ay ganun din. So siguro lang ang pagkakaiba, si Speaker Lord Alan is very down to earth siguro, someone that you can text and he would reply or makakausap po anytime. And then siguro yung pagkakapantay-pantay ng pagtingin sa mga miyembro ng Kongreso doon sa mga nararapat na mga programa at proyekto na nadadala sa mga kanya-kanyang distrito.
How about the impression that the House under Cayetano was a rubber stamp of President Duterte, and now under Speaker Velasco, it would still be a rubber stamp?
I don't wanna comment on that, no. Siguro sila yung dapat tumugon o sumagot doon sa issue na yon na rubber stamp sila both ng presidente.
But we're talking here of the entire House to which you belong.
Yeah, I cannot comment on that, no. Ako basta ang nakikita ko, we do have a Congress that is working very hard para dito sa pagtugon ng mga problema. So yung perception na palaging ganon ang pagtingin sa Kongreso na naiimpluwensyahan ng Pangulo, hindi lang naman yan ngayon. Okay. Sa mga nagdaang Kongreso, palagi namang tinitingnan kung ano ang relasyon ng Kongreso doon sa Pangulo ng bansa.
Okay, now let's talk about the more important issue here, the national budget. We are in the middle of a pandemic. And you, as again the head of the Committee on Health, how much is actually allocated for the pandemic response from? Okay, I was distracted a bit there. I mean, when you talk about the budget of the government for next year, the proposed 2021 national budget, how much exactly is allocated, let's say, for services from the health aspect? To address COVID-19? Because this is right up your alley, right, as the Committee on Health Chairwoman?
Yes. So the total budget of the Department of Health is 204 billion, no? And part of it is the UHC implementation. Yeah. which I think is 30 plus billion. But part of it also is COVID response. Very specific in the COVID response is the vaccine allocation, which is 2.5 billion. So it's not enough. If you scrutinize the budget, each of the items in the budget of the Department of Health is not enough. An example of which is the data management system. Early on or until now, diba, we have a problem on the reporting of the cases on COVID. And if you check on the budget, from 2020, mas bumaba pa yung budget ng 2021 for that. Surveillance budget is not enough. Napakaliit ng budget na ibinigay nila doon sa surveillance. So, and the health facilities enhancement program, napakaliit din po. In fact, hindi po binigyan ng infrastructure budget ang DOH. So, today nga yun yung mga tatanungin natin, yung the way they prioritize the allocation on each of the items. Baka we need to check or from the budget itself as a whole, no, tingnan kung saan pwede pang kumuha para idagdag po doon sa COVID response natin.
So you would push for an increase in those allocations. And
yes,
lastly,
definitely yes. And I think majority of members are calling for the increase of the budget of the DOH, especially on the COVID response.
like how much are you looking at in terms of additional budget for the DOH specific to the COVID response?
I think they need more of like if Congress can give additional 50 billion.
Okay, 50.
Yeah, 50 billion. Kasi I was told that they were able to parang get additional 10 billion, but that's for infrastructure. What we're looking into is the investment on the critical areas at this time. As I mentioned, yung IT system, we really need to improve the IT system of the DOH so that we'll be able to improve yung surveillance system natin and collection of data. And then yung ating mga health facilities talaga badly needed because we don't only support the budget of the DOH hospitals or DOH health facilities. We also support the local government health facilities. So when I check on the budget for the local support for the health facilities, very minimal lang talaga siya.
Congresswoman Helen Tan, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Christian.